the right to carry arms. It was his Second Amendment right. My man had no criminal record. In fact, he would have been what they do say, what they exemplify and typify as being a law-abiding American citizen. Blue collar. He was in intensive care unit nurse. He was an ICU nurse. So for everything that America pushes and promotes, this Alex Pretty, I believe, exemplified. And so for him to be gunned down, I mean, like, ooh. If you haven't seen the video, it's horrible. I know I have this smirk on my face, but it's not out of maliciousness. Honestly, it is not out of maliciousness. To see the loss of life anyway is not a thing that I rejoice in. However, the humor isn't missed on me. That a lot of times you will find these people, and I don't want to generalize, but you will find these people and white people, and especially of that economic class and usually that background, endorsing police enforcement. You'll find these are the ones that are in favor of qualified immunity for the police. And then they begin to see how idiotic and just absolutely stupid that idea is, to give someone your home wing that much authority over the masses of people, where there's no redress, there is no type of repercussions or ramifications for ill-ass behavior that a lot of times the police are perpetrating against the masses of people. So to back that, their job is dangerous. We don't know when they come home. It's easy to say when they have used their propaganda machine, the media, to criminalize and dehumanize black people to the point where you're divorced from the atrocities that happened to us. You're divorced from the atrocities that happened to us. We've been gunned down like that before, video after video. Down like that before. You've seen video after video. And it isn't about the outcry. It isn't about, they didn't holler for us like that. I really, it does say something, but that isn't the motivating factor in why I think how I think, because I really do believe we have to do for self. What I am saying is that it points out forms of neo-colonialism that still exist in us that we have to stamp out. The need to react to oppression everywhere so passionately and be divorced from it, to have this attitude, this all of a sudden this very benevolent attitude. It's and not benevolent attitude. What am I looking for? Because I want to be careful to make sure I articulate what I'm trying to say. This attitude of, is forgiveness the word, of really it doesn't have the same impact. It doesn't contain the same weight when this repression or this treatment is directed to me, to my people. You don't see the same response out of our people, and I do believe this is conditioning. We've been trained to be Yazzle Mazzle, don't hurt Mazzle, whatever our master may be. If it is the liberal, ultra-left, white activist, that becomes, psychologically, that colonialism kicks in, and we begin to serve that cause through those people, serve those people through that cause. I hope I'm making sense here. This is what we have to be careful of. So the reaction, I say, yes, is right, man. We are humanitarians. We don't like to see senseless loss of life, especially when we know what's going down. We know the devil is enacting his devilment, and we know how to politicize it. We know this is capital forces. These are not even just capital forces. These are fascist forces trying to implement this new regime, to cement this regime change. We understand what's going down, so we're not blind to what's happening, but you have to understand the psychological dynamic that goes into the actions or the decisions that go into the actions we make or don't make. It's psychological, it's trauma, it's post-traumatic slave disorder, or post-traumatic land appropriation disorder. Either way, it is a disorder. It is a psychological reaction due to the trauma we specifically faced being black people here in America, and there's no way around it. We can try to dance around that trauma. We can try to pretend it doesn't exist by indoctrinating ourselves, submerging ourselves, or immersing ourselves in international understanding, revolutionary understanding on an international scale, and willfully ignore your particular issues with colonialism, with imperialism and capitalism, your particular specific issues, how it affected you, how you became the fuel for the capitalist machine. You're coming from that perspective, not just the perspective of imperialism, it visiting you through colonialism. You were the fuel for pre-capitalist societies and empires that exist today. And not understanding historical materialism, not understanding history, our relativeness to history, cause and effect of history, roles we played, things we tried, will constantly give us reactionary actions, reactionary tactics, and or very romantic, adventurous ideas. We're gonna meet the police, we can head up, man, that ain't even nowhere really feasible. That is nowhere even really feasible. It's sensational as hell because that's the sentiment of most America. We would love to confront them. But if you're making statements like, if ICE comes to snatch one of us, first of all, who is us? That would be my first question. Who is us? If they come snatch one of us, we're going to put a hole in their chest. Secondly, if then you're putting yourself in a position to say that I'm going to intentionally, willfully hinder you from doing what you say your job is doing. And a lot of black people say it is not worth that. Legally, they have a certain right. Socially, culturally, we haven't really been getting along. And then just weighing it in perspective as the other things I have going on, my children. I don't know them like that. So you calling me anti-revolutionary, counter-revolutionary because I don't know them like that. Revolution starts in the house first. So am I willing to put all of those things up against the line for that? And I can't tell you that I am. Say what you're going to say. It only makes sense. So this is what we're saying about this type of inflammatory comments and statements when they're showing you. And see, then here's my whole thing. No, don't let me go too far. So, yeah, we're not willing to say that about ICE. And then where I go so far as to say, why would you say that to ICE and you ain't said that to the police or defects? The state that represses black people. We're going after the federal agents. You're going after the federal government. I understand, like I said, revolution, we must address this, but we have agencies of state repression or agents that practice state repression. I can identify, like what he said. He said, identify, I can identify with the horrors that are visited upon the immigrant community. I can identify with children being snatched out of their homes, in their bed clothes and taken to facilities, separate from their parents. You guys called it ICE. We called it Department of Children and Family Services. I know Panthers who have fought against these very agencies of evil and separators and destroyers of the family, the black family unit that fight. And it was no international outcry. Not saying that we needed it. I'm just making a point. There was no international outcry. Why? Because the immigrant communities, the other communities, wasn't the target of state repression. In fact, what the state was attempting to do in a lot of instances was replace black labor, black economic power. The state was attempting to erase a lot of black people. I think Chicago is a prime example of that. I think Chicago is a prime example of that. You had black communities that have been petitioning to get these abandoned buildings, old schools and things, and to turn them into something productive for the edification of the black community. And there was deafness to their cries and their pleas. Before they had even become cries and pleas, to their plans and propositions, there was nothing. No response from the state, no anything. And then when it became a sanctuary city, See, you have to understand when all of these things took place, when it became a sanctuary city, when it began to house immigrants and host the immigrant population. And why? Because the Democrats were in charge at this time. The Democratic Party had always been trying to replace you. You've been selling yourself. This is why I talk about that neo-colonialism. You come up, when you're first taught anything about politics, they don't tell you, they don't give you a brief civics course in your politics in a lot of black households. Let's keep it real. It's the only way we're going to develop and cultivate ourselves into effective revolutionary or effective activists or effective people for change. It starts with truth and the truth of ourselves and our upbringing, our origin. This is how we know where we can, how we can, and what we can participate with in the movement. Right? So the truth of it, when we first come into introduction of politics, we're not given this brief civics course. We're taught, traditional politics. Vote Democrat. If you're confused, what happens if I get in the poll booth and I don't know what to do? Vote Democrat. You don't know him, vote a Democrat. We have given our allegiance to this party that has proven us to not only be the major participants, but we're also the symbol. What is their symbol? An ass. You have been the ass. You have been the mascot. And they understood that this consciousness had begun to permeate. But through the black community, a lot of us begin to call it woke culture. And we stopped blindly giving allegiance to the Democratic Party and began to do more of an independent thing. We began to participate politically, what was in our best interest. I got my man Arthur on here, was one of those people who began to say, you know what, I'm just throwing it out here because of the great work he does, where he's at, not just socially, culturally, with Black Men United or the Youth United, and I may be misquoting the program, but politically by supporting politicians, getting them in there to make effective change. This is what's called radical politics, man, radical reformism. You put people in seat, then you hold their ass to pressure. See what I'm saying? No longer can we afford the apathy. I don't have nothing to do with that. They taxing you, young man and young lady, homie, and adults. When they hit that tax, they love that you feel like I don't have nothing to do with that. That means Young Men United. Thank you, brother. That they love when you feel like you don't have anything to do with politics. That means they can tax your money and they can send out internationally, globally. Their foreign aid policies can be crazy. They can support the very things that you're watching on the news like, wow, why would they do that? Oh my God, I can't believe they did. Because they're using your tax dollars and you don't care about the machine that funnels this money and funds these governments that are really just large terrorist organizations, because you're apathetic about what happens right here in your backyard. You're not demanding accountability and in a lot of instances change for your dollar. Politics is warfare. Thank you, Brother Arthur, for that wonderful contribution. Politics is warfare. There is no way around it. Nobody is saying practice capitulating politics. Nobody's saying practice homogenized politics. Nobody's saying be the black version of Make America Great Again. What I'm saying is be accountable if you're going to get in that department. Be accountable for black dollars. Help to establish a means for, we're not looking for our savior to come out of their politics. What we're looking for is a buffer, an opportunity to lessen the economic disparity, to end some of the civic discrimination blatantly practiced against us as black people. If we can get in these towns, especially south of the capital being Atlanta, south of the capital, where Journey Black Foundation is doing a lot of wonderful, wonderful work, when we can get in these places that usually hold white power due to either apathy, non-participation of politics, or an ignorance of how their participation can make a big effect. See, a lot of times they have taught us separatism so wonderfully. They have taught you objectivity so wonderfully. You don't see yourself a part of the whole, so you don't feel like your little contribution can make a big difference. But it isn't your one little contribution. It's your one little contribution plus the million of us others who have placed our contribution in the same basket. You've heard the saying, It's the straw that broke the middle in South Georgia. Indeed, it's the peace. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. You thought the straw broke the camel's back? It was the million straws already on this camel's back, and that one, your participation, your energy, your, some call it prayer, energy, focus, direction, that thing that resides in you, God, that resides in you, making that a physical manifestation in some type of tangible action. You know what that's called? Phenomena. Look it up. It's called phenomena. So if you make a phenomena, you know what that makes you? Phenomenal. You're phenomenal. But your phenomena is not in the best interest of black people. You're phenomenal with the mic. You're phenomenal shaking. Hey, got the dance step. You're doing the latest TikTok. Phenomenal. Wonderful. Your coordination is wow. You're phenomenal in sports. You're phenomenal in all of these things that, though are entertaining and do show our absolute powers, aren't beneficial or edifying for our self-sufficiency. And the people who are phenomenal for our self-sufficiency, we're still so colonized that we belittle and we denigrate and we laugh and we mock and say, what do we need that? That's radical. That's crazy. That's this. That's that. That'll never work. And as soon as white America, the supremacist, you understand the antithesis of your greatness, the lowness, the baseness of existence, sees the division and the disunity and the disharmony that exists within our community. They launch their attacks, both psychologically, socially, culturally, to assassinating your character, to eventually the black community rejects you to such a degree that coming in and erasing your person from the planet of the earth, they won't even make a cry. This is what they're attempting to do to that, what's his name, Alex Pretty, and he's white. The reports of the incident by federal officials, federal agents, don't line up with eyewitness accounts. And then I am just someone watching the video. It doesn't even line up just from a spectator. What's the saying? Make it make sense. And it's impossible to do. So what they attempt to do is denigrate your character. They said he came with the intentions to massacre, or, they're trying to paint him out to be this homegrown terrorist to justify that. Let me tell you, in my opinion, because I understand the tactics of a bully. See, a bully is really scary, right? So what a bully would do is find that one person, they will maul that one person. They will completely not only just annihilate that person physically, they will humiliate that person. And this is to send an example out, a warning out. My man Paul Hammer, safe line, safe repair place, however, it was real cute. But they're letting you know, boy, we murder white boys in the street. So can you imagine this dude had a camera and was backing up when they pushed him? Now, something Ward said, like he said, no, it was Sykes said on First 48, and check that out. Not First, look at me, First 48. Panther 48, and check that out. That when you are touched, you have a reflex. It's called reflex, and this is what the police use to justify excessive force. And they're so good that they throw out the programming, spell casting. Man, I'm telling you, magic is real. Spell casting. Stop resisting. This is to hypnotize the masses into believing that either you're resisting or it covers their ass. So when they're asked, well, yeah, the police did yell, stop resisting. Even though they're not close enough to really see what's going on, and they don't know that your arm only bends a certain way. So when you're trying to bend it in a way that it doesn't naturally go, then naturally I'm going to try to keep it in the correct position, or I'm going to resist the strain you're going to hurt me. And I'm not going to lay back and allow it. I'm just lay back and let you break me up. Come on, the black man is already behaving unnaturally. Now, if he's supposed to just do that, we have practiced that before. We saw what that got us. No, my friend. Right? So I think that this is them taking a shot at them, even if it isn't directly, even if it isn't intentional, to that statement that Paul made. If we will do this to our own, whom clearly, from watching the video, poses no immediate threat, then we will absolutely maul you. You're coming with an assault rifle in BDU's battle dress uniform after have making an inflammatory comment. If you come for us, we'll put a hole in your chest. I think that's enticement. And you see, they don't care about legalities. You think you're protected by some amendment? That dude had a Second Amendment right to carry his gun. You see where he got him? He had a First Amendment right to freedom of speech, to show up to a protest. And you see where it got him. So, a lot of times, like I had said in one of my lives before, a lot of times we spit this Constitution shit, but we really take advantage of and push the rights we believe that were afforded under its residue. And now they're showing you, a fascist regime is showing you that they are questioning and challenging the very Constitution that they constituted. You understand? We're looking at, if you ask me, and you can say, oh man, you're being a little romantic, maybe you're being a little fantastic here. I think the potentials of a civil war. We saw it November 6th when they stormed the Capitol. Somehow, they end up, I think they were so scary. See, they're so compromising, and they're so, I'm not saying that they're not warmongers. The fact that they understand they are warmongers make them deal with one another with velvet gloves. They're dealing with Trump like they dealt with Adolf Hitler. They talked with Hitler in the beginning. They tried to negotiate. They really tried to come to some understanding, because what Hitler did is like what Trump is doing, trying to implement that white supremacist plan too fast. Hitler's crime to white America wasn't his extermination or the alleged extermination, whatever, of the Jewish people. It was him fighting white people, Europe. How dare you fight France, Russia, Italy, Poland? You're fighting Europeans. Keep that shit in Africa. Go colonize and suppress the darkies. But now you want to fight us, and you want to be our supreme ruler. And you want to be our supreme ruler. That's what their beef was with Hitler. That's when they went in. He had been committing atrocities and horrors against the Jewish population. He had been espousing white supremacist rhetoric and doing God knows what in the little locales. But as soon as his aspiration and his desires grew, his ambitions got the better of him, and he began to perpetrate the first worldwide white-on-white crime. Hitler was the first worldwide white-on-white criminal. The first time he started going against European nations, they had a problem. We find this in Trump. This is the problem they have with Trump. He's reenacting that. And we see it here happen nationally. A lot of people that voted for him and tried to put him in, and they love this white supremacist attitude, and especially in the beginning years when it wasn't as blatant, when he still tried to have a little caress and finesse, and charisma. They loved it because they could hide their latent racism. You understand? They could still talk to you and secretly support Trump because he wasn't so blatant. Now he's blatant, now he's out, and his plan is clear. Some of those mild to moderate supporters who flirted with white supremacy, who thought it was a good idea, who took, I call them extreme white privilege lovers, who was like, yeah, I really don't have nothing against the Mexicans, but yeah, it is one too many Taco Bells popping up. I really don't have, those halfway liberal. They cool. I'm cool with my black people because, I got some black friends that work. We've integrated and homogenized and amalgamized enough that some of them are comfortable with us. But those immigrants, they weren't comfortable with them. And so Trump was speaking their language, and they put them in. This is how Hitler did. You cold, you're not going to show people your extremism at first. You need the mass. This is what I tell the black revolutionaries. A lot of you extreme revolutionaries, you keep forgetting you're not getting the support of the masses. You think the sensationalism and getting out there, yes, black people want a champion. It's good for entertainment. However, the problem is you don't label your shit for entertainment purposes only, and you're going to get black men and women slaughtered. You are handicapping the already slow paced, or the movement of black power. You're adding a handicap to it. You're adding an unnecessary element, and that is extra militarism. Not ready for that, man. I believe in separation of black people. I believe in separation so black people can heal and come back to their African self. We are brainwashed literally colonized, all right? So we go back to that. So that's what I think that we're, one of the things that is coming from here, man, we're willing to go to the extent of murdering our own, whom enjoyed the privilege of being white. You know what I'm saying? Listen to the outcry. You have to listen to the crowd when they say, well, they did protest for George Floyd. Yeah, okay. They did. However, you can even listen to the wording. When they killed Jeff and Surrogate, they said, oh my God, they're killing American citizens. Oh my God, they're killing American citizens. That lets you know subconsciously what they think of you. First and foremost, you've been getting murdered. Your children have been getting murdered. But they're killing American citizens. So that lets you know what they think of you. And then secondly, that tells you, goes back, it should give you an indication of their thinking. Because one thing about them, I don't care what side they go on, extreme right like the ultra right like the mega Republicans, or the ultra left like Revolutionary Communist Party. No disrespect. I don't care what side you go. When you're white in America, you come with an illness, and it is called white privilege. You can't help yourself. I'm sorry. Somebody got to tell you. You got all these allies. You got all these people rubbing elbows with you and shit and talking about the revolution and we must extend, which is absolutely right. Like I said, one of my revolutionary heroes, if there's a thing, is Ibrahim Traoré. You know what I'm saying? And like he does business with Russia. So I understand that, but somebody got to tell you. Especially on the shores of North America, you come with privilege. I've read the Constitution of the Revolutionary Communist Party USA. And know it has some great things in the Constitution. There's something that I took issue with and I talked to the party about. I was like, okay, here's the thing, the revolution happens. We have this socialist society or this communist government. But right here, it says if black people want separation, they have to bring it to this committee. They have to petition for it. They have to, essentially, you have to go through another freaking process to get your freedom. And you didn't vote for your freedom with this particular party and this particular ideology, but you never looked at the fine print and said, what did they have in plan for you as a people? Those ideologies and methodologies incorporate this movement at the expense of ethnicity, religion, and all of that. They're not going to address that, which is one of the good things, but it is not practical. It's not real. And especially on the shores of North America, we can pretend that that's happening, and I can join your party, and we can get this government pretend that you're not going to come in there with white privilege, that you're not going to start to exemplify the behavioral patterns passed down to you from generation to generation, the same way that I exhibit behavioral patterns passed down through my lineage. We're not going to act like that shit don't exist. We're not going to act like we're entering into this society, into this existence with the same perspective, because that is not true. And if I don't begin to believe in myself enough and have enough sense of self-worth, then I would never say, hey, I am the rubric. I am the ruling point. I am the absolute center of my existence, and those things that I interact with, the decisions I make, shit that I partake in, should be and must be edifying and beneficial. And I don't like to say me. It's like Brother E said on Panther 48, we Ubuntu. That thing. All right before midterms. Indeed. That's another thing. Like, I don't, if he, unless he does something crazy, which all of us should be kind of having our eyes open, like, because he's really on about this midterm and this. I mean, we got to, peace. I don't know. The button is real. The button is real. And as of yet, nobody has really bit his very aggressive moves to start a world war. Fuck with Venezuela. You're talking about going into Greenland. You got European nations mobilizing, and then they're still trying to be so passive about it, not to piss off America, not to piss your crazy ass off so Trump won't hit the button, that they say it's only a military training exercise. They send in, a half a dozen to a dozen soldiers. Was that 6, 12? And Trump took this, or is going to try to use this and try to exacerbate, say, well, you know what, now I'm going to slap tariffs on our European allies. You always say he changed his tune now? I mean, he is trying everything that he can. And this is why he said he got us spooked. He has the American public spooked. I think he does have Black American concern. But if we're spooked, it's only because we still are very much domesticated on them. If you're spooked, that means that we're not trying to find a way to end our dependency on the American system. Like we keep saying, Babylon is for mine, big T, Babylon for, right? We keep saying this, man, over and over again, but are we actually prepared for it? This is why I say people talk about it ain't what you believe, it's what you know. Not necessarily. A lot of us know that there has been no empire that hasn't at some point in time met its demise. Either it's complete annihilation or it's downsizing, like the British Empire. And with this change, this is called a transformation of state. Our thing is, as a Black nationalist, how are we going to weather the storm? What will our plan be? We as citizens need to fight while there is momentum. Stand up to, it depends what you mean fight. It depends what you mean fight. And where's the momentum? There's a lot of sensational shit going on, but where's the momentum? When there's a fight, we'll be put in a fight. Yes. When they have a civil war, like they did when the South and people start negotiating, hey, if I fight, can I get some freedom? 40 acres and a mule, it's not about our fight. Whatever, that's gonna come. Let me tell you something. And you're right, Derek, some of it is not our fight. And when they do begin to implode, where they're beginning to implode, when they implode, when they begin this civil war, we have had plenty of reasons to be fighting. Absolutely. When they begin the civil war, that's where you're going to see the various opinions. You're going to have people who join in the civil war, and they're going to join in on the various sides they agree with. I tell us as Black nationalists, though, be very particular. Let's be particular and I'm thinking about something else. Because it's not necessarily a bad thing. One of the first, the father of Black nationalism, Martin Delany, was a Union soldier at one time. That's why I say when they have the war, and I love me some Martin Delany, when they have the war, Black people gonna find their position in place. But at the end of it, here's what I'm saying. Let me throw into my little of it all. Once the Civil War, that the Black nationalists will have an opportunity at Reconstruction again. And this time, when we go into Reconstruction, maybe we won't go into it so lovingly, blindly acceptance of the benevolent aid and assistance of our oppressor. Coming in at this time with foreknowledge and experience and wisdoms and intellect that we have, being the backbone of North America anyway, and having the opportunity to, should they implode and have a civil war, go back to giving this energies, attentions, brilliance, talents, and everything back to us. I think a new Black Wall Street would be different. with our brothers and sisters coming home from the service, with our commitment to excellence and being willing, having gone through what we've gone through, and saying, hey, if I build me something, this is worth dying for. I think a new Rosewood or a Black Wall Street would have a different result should people come at it. Let me just say that. We have to build nations inside this nation and protect what we have. Right. It would be better if the diaspora would partner with us, but I feel they keep undermining us to take our position. Absolutely. Listen, I couldn't agree with that more. And here's the opportunity for that. Yes. To begin to build nations within this nation. You know, we saw it in Greece, an example of they call nation states. An example of that model would be ancient Greece. And I know you're saying ancient Greece, but when you're talking about documented government that ran and started interacting, I think, unfortunately they destroyed, excuse me, the origins of these documents and hid them under Greek writers and stuff. So Greek, Plato's The Republic, things of that nature, they hold, and especially if you're like me, you're African-centered, you're Black-centered, you can extract the Africanness out of it. I wish I were like some of our greats where I could really extract it, but I can see us in it. So it ain't fooling me. You can stamp, what you want on that. You can stamp, what's his name? Hercules on dialectics, but I know dialectics is nothing but Comedic sciences and African spiritualism. It's what you call the scientifically historical material dialectics. No, that's Marxism. Dialectics, Herlectites, or whatever his name is, some Greek. But don't let me digress. Anyway, so in developing that, here's the opportunity, because we're faced with, like I said, for those in the political arena, especially when we're talking about Middle and South Georgia, where the areas where JVF works, and where we're making effect, these little places and towns where you can have some political say is the move. Because that's what we see happening now. What you see happening now with ICE, they're federally sponsored, they're federal agents. And the feds are moving in on state municipalities. The state is saying, hey, you have some of these mayors and governors and stuff saying, we don't want you in our cities, we don't want you in our state, and the feds are pushing it. So they're exercising statements. So this is what you see, a battle of this 10th Amendment going on. I think if we were to take advantage of anything, especially in these little, in our state, in these little towns, to begin to look at that, to look at the power that these towns have and how these towns can go in and empowering the state. And this is how you flip the state, by taking over the municipalities of the townships. I'm telling you, getting one of these towns run from everything from police chief to dog catcher. I know that doesn't sound very revolutionary, but there's steps to it, especially in place. And then you look at what type of revolution you're addressing. Yeah. So, then you have to weigh it out. That's right. But I don't want to get all over the place. Right. I don't want to get all over the place. But that's the move. That's the move. That's right. Addition, everyone is the regime is playing Monopoly, land theft versions, all these ICE protests with the whites is a free gift to push the button on martial law. The whites, women. Let me see. I lost it. The white woman, the catalyst, the white man getting shot, then they all get together and gaslight the ICE protests, which are getting a bit chaotic. That's just right about the corner that martial law happens. Funny thing is the cosplay. Playing alleged Panther hasn't been nowhere in these protests I'm watching. This is crazy considering the dude made the main news stream. Right, that's the front line. Minneapolis is the front line of it. You understand? Minneapolis is the front line of it. And he's not on the front line of it. I think that if anything, like you said, it was sensational. I think everybody knows that statement was a sensational statement. And those are the questions he's going to have. They're going to ask why you're not out there yada, yada, yada. And I hope he has a good answer, because it would be foolish to me. You have to go back to there again. Why are you out? Not why aren't you out there? I would ask the question, man, why are you out there? Like, I dig it. You throw this gentleman, Huey said we for all oppressed people and this and that, but you can't forget the founding principles of the Black Panther Party. Yes, you're for all oppressed people. Who are the we, though? Black people. You can be more for all oppressed people than you are for your people.
Yes.
Like I said before, if you haven't talked about, and I'm not encouraging you to make any threat against any law enforcement official, right. However, I'm just pointing out, if you haven't made this statement about the police, you know what, next time DFACS or next time the police kill one of us, we're going to put a hole in their chest, or try to snatch one of us, we're going to put a hole in their chest. A lot of nationalists are questioning why the internationalism
right.
before the nationalism. And I understand, like I said, identifying with our people who look like us, you know, but let's keep it 21, man. This ain't, you know, this is not a game.
No.
We can read because we for this, we for that, but let's be real. This is why one of my favorite people, participators, contributors to revolutionary literature, to revolutionary understanding is Frantz Fanon. Because Frantz Fanon was a psychologist. He was a doctor. And so his analysis of the Algerian Revolution, there's a lot of psychology in the work. And I absolutely love that, because, I don't think we factor that in enough. Like, we can quote this internationalism with for all oppressed peoples. First, like I said, first point, founding principles of the Black Panther Party. Your first thing, black people are the priority. So if your power base, if the masses of black people don't know what the hell's going on, why you're doing it, what you're doing, then that point and purpose is lost. Secondly, understanding the day-to-day activities, man, the day-to-day dialectics of your people.
Yes.
Understanding the day-to-day dialectics of your people, man. You trying to impose and enforce and shame the people, trying to tell people they not revolutionary because they not thinking like that. It doesn't line up with their day-to-day actions, their day-to-day action, dialectics. A lot of times their social interactions, social culture interactions with foreigners aren't pleasant. Let's keep it 21. And if you can't translate, if you don't have day-to-day pleasant experiences with day-to-day, it's hard for you to embrace an ideology that says, let me spill blood or put my blood on the line for people whom I don't like in day-to-day interactions. Whether it's right or wrong. That's the problem with the revolutionaries now. We're coming in and that's the wrong thing and that's the wrong thinking. It may be, but it's the way you disseminate that information. Your job is to educate the masses to the correct way of participating in revolution. And I don't just say revolution, because that's where we get lost when we start getting every other form of socialism and every other revolutionary coming in, playing us on the revolution. So I just don't say revolution, educating the masses to revolution, but to revolutionary black nationalism. That's the key thing. Revolutionary black nationalism. What is in the best interest of your people? Because you can tell me I'm not with, we fight for all oppressed people. But is that at this particular time, shape, form, fashion, space, and place where I should take that blanket ideology on? See, a black nationalist will put the best interests of his people first. Yes. We're done being hoodwinked and duped into joining all these mass movements for the human rights of other people, and we still haven't fought here enough to have this nation look at your struggle as a human rights struggle. You haven't practiced enough revolutionary action here to have your struggle elevated from a civil rights struggle to a human rights struggle. What the whole Panther thing was about. You want to participate in revolution all over the freaking world, and then run from the revolution that you're facing day to day.
Yes.
You don't deal with state repression. You don't deal with state murders, mayhems, and mischief. It's easy to deal with the federales, especially when the feds ain't in your city like that. I mean, they in every city. They down here in Atlanta. But I mean, converged on the city, not a presence. Your city's already under control. They don't need to converge on your city like that. Now, if it's a war on Islam, the anti-Muslim police really might pop up on somebody's radar. So it's easy to make those type of statements and then judge the world by that statement. And I get it. It was reactive of him. Everyone had been attacking him, but instead of, my thing is, it's tough. It's tough being a revolutionary. Yes. Secondly, it's tough being a person who has made a statement in favor of some revolutionary action, and that statement hasn't gone over favorably, and then swallowing humility and come and say, hey, man, I may have made some shit that wasn't the best statement. Instead of trying to justify that statement, double down on worse statements in response. That's why I think calling the people to a meeting to hear you face-to-face was brilliant. It was a great idea. However, I just would have came back and said, hey, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best statement. One, for the sake of unity. If every Panther, the majority of the Panther formations have a problem with what I said, and I got a few that like me and a few that may support me, may be questionable anyway, though. See, that's excuse me. And not questionable in what they did, not saying that, but to the masses of people. For the sake of unity, I might have been like, well, maybe I could have said it better. And then secondly, here it is, the masses. See, we have to understand that the Panther is not, if you're saying all powers to the people, you're like, all powers to the people, though. What people? The black people. If the masses of black people, whom the Black Panther Party is for, they're not for the world.
That's right.
So first thing we need to clear up. It's the Black Panther Party, not the Internationalist Panther Party, not the Global Panther Party. Not that we fight for everybody Panther Party.
Right.
It is the Black Panther Party.
Listen.
So it is for black people to get our shit together, and then to begin to, while in the process of getting our shit together and beginning to, these steps of waging a viable revolution that will, a revolution, then we present that on an international scale to the world. When Mao Zedong took the Communist Party and took over China, do you think it was just because he believed communism was the way to go? He thought it was the best way for Chinese people. And this is how you knew it. Because Mao Zedong wasn't a Marxist-Leninist. He may have studied Marxist-Leninist. What was he? He created his own thing. Huey studied it. I've read it and take excerpts from it. Maoism. Maoism. Yes. So they take this concept and they see themselves and they begin to alter and modify these concepts to address their particular specific needs, and it becomes intimate and personal.
Yes.
So Chinese communism isn't the same as Soviet communism, European communism. I'm sure communism in Cuba isn't the same as communism in China.
That's right.
Not black people. Not black people. We get a little bit of socialism, ends up leading them to communism. Now we Chinese. Now we Bolsheviks. Now we Cuban. This is why I thank the likes of Mohammed Akhdam, formerly known as Max Stanford, even Huey P. Newton, who began to take these things, understand Marxist lists, all of that, and add factors from my specific element in it. Like Franz Fanon, I was introduced through reading Huey. So I could see how he would take these different men. This is what I encourage many of you to do. I love that we quote Dr. Newton. I love we quote it. But I encourage you to begin to read what they read. Don't just quote them. Go study what they study. Read Mao for yourself. Read Abraham Gilliam for yourself. Read Tupamaru and the Tupamaru movement in Uruguay for yourself. Begin to read Revolution for yourself.
Yes.
That way you can extract more brilliance from what Dr. Huey said, and then you can even offer them like, oh no, Dr. Newton. Now we have a little more information than you had, instead of you guys trying to be the clone of Dr. Newton. And like you said, we're the same, we're a little more aggressive, got bigger guns, and are you trying to be super clone? And it didn't work when they did it.
That's right.
Look what happened. No disrespect, OPs. They became ultra right. No disrespect, Sister Brown. I believe they dumped their guns in the bay, abandoned some of the programs, and became very political. Start rocking with the Democratic Party. So you have to begin to understand where things may have went a little bit astray. We don't owe anyone blind allegiance and nostalgia to the part where we say, okay, this is a little questionable here. Anyone. My father was one of them, so I know if I say no one's going to tell me where they can correct me, sit me down, but I am owed an explanation. Not saying I'll be right. I am owed an explanation. Just like every wave. Just like if we get the next wave coming in, they want to sit down with War, Biggie, Syke, Aaron, anybody that may have been myself, may have been through that third wave of New Black Panther Party, and they're sincere. They are owed an explanation.
Yes.
Nobody has, in my opinion, when you're a revolutionary, the right to be as audacious as to say, I don't owe you anything. Okay. You're right, you don't. Now, I can't say you don't, I say you do, but you have the right to feel that way, but that feeling will have ramifications and repercussions.
Yes.
Not anything physical, just on the outlook perspective of certain people, and then, it affects how everybody moves.
That's right.
And those effects could be dire. When all it takes is explanation, some explaining, a loss of audacity. Right? So this is where we're at with it. And I know I'm just going on and on because a couple things, and I started out because when I saw him gun down that white person, I knew in relation to what a statement a Panther had made. And I'm going to tell you, I got brothers out like my man, Chairman Dr. Ali Muhammad, Revolutionary Black Panther Party. We talked. I was like, you guys okay? Because he was the first Panther I know to begin to address the ICE issue up in Chicago. He was there when ICE, and I will say this thing, they said, well, he's addressing ICE. Yeah, he was there when they converged in a black neighborhood, stormed a black building, and was bringing black babies and black women in their night clothes out, running immigrations one way and warrants the other way. I'm not speaking for him. I'm not saying that's the only reason that he's active or he does what he does. I'm not saying that. He will speak for Revolutionary Black Panther Party. What I am saying, though, he had an eyewitness account. He was there, out there, confronting, asking questions when black people got sucked up into the vacuum of it. And he was on the spot. And he has been there since that day in Chicago, right? When they tried Chicago up. So, of course, I would be concerned from a man. I'm like, because you got a brother out here making these statements. And like I said, if they're killing white people, whom from what it looks like, yes, he was armed within his Second Amendment right. I didn't see him brandishing and waving and foaming at the mouth like a madman, like the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, tried to paint him out to be. His intent was to massacre agents. He was a domestic terrorist. I didn't see any of that on the video, but hey, So if they're willing to go to that extent to exercise and exhort their power, their force, and their dominance to bully and terrify you, when you have made a open remark, I'm not even going to say threat, because I'm not going to say anything that would give them, say, even, you ain't going to say it was a threat. No, towards you, my man, because, it was crazy. But when you say some very inflammatory things, and you're in battle dress uniform BDUs, which many Panther formations have adapted, or you just looking like you're looking, a black militant, which is the original black nationalist uniform, or the black revolutionary nationalist uniform and that black militancy look, and you're dressed like that with an assault rifle, you're not even going to get the common courtesy that Alex Prete, the white man killed, got with a shove. They're just going to begin to open fire.
Right.
That's my prediction.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to be very careful with these statements and understand ramifications, repercussions, dialectics. Because they're murdering on. And in closing, brothers and sisters, how this affects us, man. We have to get active in our own day-to-day dialectics, whatever that may look like. I'm not saying to the extent of revolutionary participation. I'm saying to the first day-to-day dialectic, when you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, greet your beautiful black self. Know that you are a wonderful, 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 beautiful thing. No accident. You are intentional, guardian, keeper of the universe and this planet Earth. And then take that revolutionary attitude towards yourself and give it to your neighbor. Yeah. Give it to the people you encounter, especially black people. So, man, peace, man. Oh, yeah. That love extended to them. Many of you don't know your neighbors' names. We got to go back to the essential of African communalism. Many of you don't know your neighbors' names. Shame, shame, shame. Learn your neighbors' names, and then we can begin to expand and broaden this into some real community activism, and from community activism grows state participation, state activism in all its forms and fashions. Yes. Mode of wonderful revolution that changes everything for you and I, creates a state and a place, mental state, a physical place, and a way of being that is edifying for the black people. This is what we're shooting for. This is what we know will be the fruition, because we see the process. But me talking to you like this, openly on a device that goes everywhere that someone hits the button, is progress from where we came from, right? So the progress only gets better if we make the right decisions. Yes. Look, I could be labeled an ending forever because I enjoy talking to you, but I'm not. I'm going to say it like this. All powers to oppressed people, African power to an African people, and black power. Yeah, I can say peace.
Peace. I want to thank y'all for listening. I hope you listened very well to what was being said, because that's what it's about. And I'm going to give y'all some peace and love. I just wanted to share that. Hey, I'm we're going to share that. That's black love. That's how we're supposed to be. Black love. Loving our women, and our women loving us. It's not about all the things that the world taught you. It's about finding a person that you could be one with. Here, one in mind. You can't work with someone that's walking different from you. You can't build with someone that's trying to go in a different direction than you. It's about finding someone that you could become one with. It's about connecting back to our people. But in order for us to connect back to our people, we have to learn and open up our hearts to our people. We have to spend time with our people. We have to start fellowshipping one with another. We have stopped fellowshipping with one another, and we're fellowshipping with our oppressors and all other type of people. But if we truly want salvation for blacks, then we have to become black, associating with our own, like-minded. Let the blacks go that want to be a part of others. But continually teach, because when they see the light, when they see us rising and uniting, they will want to unite. We have to be the example for them. We have to walk in a righteous way towards our people. Everything I speak is for us, to us. I'm not here for any other people. Even when I speak about the religious aspect, it's to bring you out of that religious doctrine and to bring you into a doctrine that will bring you to salvation, that will bring you to unity, that will bring you to love of us as a whole, because we are one. Whatever happens to one of us, it falls on all of us. Hey, listen, I hope that you like the show. I just wanted to give you a little bit. You know I'm always coming to you in a different way. You never know how I'm going to come. That's the great thing about me. But you can know this. I love you. Peace and one love. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.